IT stocks today are correcting. Maybe it's a case of buy on rumors and sell on news. What is the way forward for IT, banks, and where is Nifty headed in the medium term? Let's discuss that with Nikhil Vora, Managing Director with IDFC Securities. Nikhil, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Nikhil, the big talking point is IT. IT companies have delivered, margin expansion is solid, management commentary is robust, quality of earnings is also impeccable. But is all the good news in the price? Do you think markets are pricing in all the positives now?
Not just for IT, but for the markets in generic, we tend to move from overt pessimism to overt exuberance in the near term. There seems to be very little in between. My sense is that there's still a fair bit left in IT and technology space in generic. Demand environment seems to be a lot more positive than it's ever been before. The fact is that when India gets into, or rather when the trade gets into the rebid market, a lot of the incremental rebids are happening towards Indian entities and so on. I'm not. I don't think all is over for technology businesses right now. I still think there is a fair bit of momentum, both in terms of volume growth, in terms of value, as also the product mix internally within technology, where margins are likely to get safeguarded. And I think that's a fairly positive way to look at businesses right now. And also it comes in the context where I don't think we've overblown valuations as of yet. Valuations at the top end levels are still at around 15 to 20 times earning for a business which seems to be right now on course to deliver 10 to 15% earnings growth at the bare minimum. So I think lead technology stocks, I think, will continue to deliver numbers as they have in the last few quarters. And I think the positive surprise will clearly emanate from the second tier technology names like Persistent and KPIT and so on. So on the whole, still fairly positive on technology as a business.
What are your top three picks then, Nikhil, from the IT space?
So I think we would remain in the top tier names, fairly comfortable with Infosys and TCS and Tech Mahindra in that order. And in the mid-tier names, Persistent and KPIT would be the preferred ideas.
HDFC Bank came out with its earnings on Tuesday, and that indeed remains your top pick. How much more upside can we expect in the stock price from here?
Banking is clearly a divided space, and that's something which one has been calling for in the last couple of years. Historically, if you see banking, it's pretty much moved in unilateral direction, both the public and private sector banks and so on. I think that differentiation is now becoming extremely stark. And our sense is that as we move forward, the quality of earning in public sector will always get slightly more challenged and tested. And thereby investments in that space will be a tough ask, excluding obviously the trades that one keeps doing on certain public sector banks. I think within the private sector, I've heard a lot of noises of people saying that HDFC is underdelivered. If economy struggles to grow at 5% and you have a banking play which still grows at 25% plus, I'm not too sure what underdeliverance really means. Obviously, it's a shade below their historic averages, but it's still phenomenally better than any other private sector banks that one can look at. So our sense is that while the economy is in a I wouldn't say contraction stage, but in a pretty much a static mode. I think anyone who's got the ability to deliver the numbers that HDFC's done will continue to have a premium attached to their business. So will this business give investors 15-20% compound returns? I think that's very, very doable. Obviously, it's not extremely juicy as it used to be earlier, but it is something which still gives you a lot of comfort in an environment which still remains fairly challenging on the micro side.
Nikhil, so in the last 3 months, I guess Indian markets have seen it all. First, we saw a crack, followed by a strong recovery. So where do you think finally we will settle?
We've just released a thematic piece on strategy, on how we look at the markets right now. There's this bamboo shrub theory that we've played, that it takes literally 3 to 4 years of continuous watering and seeding the plant, and you don't really see too much on ground. So at some point in time, you feel that all your efforts of watering the plant has gone into waste. But in the fourth year, suddenly the bamboo shrub becomes a very strong tree, and that pretty much lasts forever. Our sense is that the Indian markets are at that stage where the last 1 year of efforts on the government side of it, and the hyperactivity that one has seen in the government, be it forced or otherwise, the fact is that a lot of policy measures have got now filtered into the system, and the benefits of that will be extremely tangible over the next 3 to 4 years, and possibly longer than that. My sense is that a lot of investors see that. For all the reasoning that one may have, that the near-term micros don't really change a needle, but the fact is that longer-term visibility of these businesses are getting created now. And I would stand by that. I think that's most important to look at. And if I look at direct cash transfers, direct tax code, GST possibly getting implemented in the next 12 months, FDI, which has been opened up in various spaces, new banking licenses, I think a lot of these measures would have been unconceivable a year back. And that's actually in play, in motion, and at various stages of implementation. So my sense is that we're not on the negative side anymore. There is obviously a micro pain that we are living through, but today I think most investors have learned to live with that and pretty much taken that into the way they are looking at markets today. So if there were two factors to really look at in the next maybe 6 months to a year, it's about a global benign environment, and second could be the way political environment shapes up in India in the next 6 months to a year. So if one gets comfortable on these two macros, I think the longer term macro seems to be extremely alluring, and I wouldn't want to ignore that at all. So we are not negative anymore. We feel markets have a lot more resilience, a lot more stability, and ignoring one or two spaces in the market, the broad spec markets are in a shape which they can take advantage of as and when the economy starts to improve a tad.
Okay, Nikhil, really good chatting with you. Appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us.